So while the APC, the PDP, the Labour Party, godfathers and godsons are squabbling over either the spoils of office or positions of power, food inflation is now well over 40%. It's raising serious food security concerns, and at a time of deep economic uncertainty, the Naira is still unstable. Then there is unemployment of more than 35% and over half the population living in extreme poverty. The frustration among the youth, who make up more than 50% of that embattled population, is growing. And for faith in democracy to endure, those in elected positions need to be seen to be bringing tangible gains. So how is the Labour Party, which made almost inconceivably large political gains during the last general election, turning that achievement into profit for the Nigerian people who they claim to represent? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the member of the House of Representatives for the federal constituency of Ikwuano-Umuahia under the Labour Party, Honourable Obi Aguocha. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Charles. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. First of all, what's the most up-to-date information that you can give us about the political crisis that's been tearing...
We don't have a crisis.
That's been tearing the Labour Party, your party, apart at the seams. Let me land, as they say in Nigeria. Of course you have a crisis.
We don't have a crisis. There's no political...
It's in the open.
There's no political party in Nigeria.
No, we're not talking about... It's no use trying to tell me...
I'm not trying to spin you.
No, I'm not
trying to spin you.
We're talking about your party.
I'm talking about Labour Party, yes. But Charles, there's no political party in Nigeria that is not going through one form or the other of some discomfort within the management.
I think discomfort is an understatement.
It's not an understatement, but actually, it's not. No. My party is still stable. It's still committed to the ideals that all of us run under the Labour Party, and we're still committed to ensuring that, albeit a minority in this wise at the National Assembly, that will still have a significant voice in the way that things are going to be run, and significantly in the ways that people should expect their legislators to begin to function and to begin to do things for the benefit of the Nigerian people. So, yeah, have we had an issue with the leadership of the party? Absolutely. No political party has not. After all, even today, PDP is having an issue with their leadership of their party as it concerns Rivers State.
Yeah, but we expected...
APC is having their own problems.
But we expected that from the PDP and the APC. You were the new direction of politics.
But what
I'm saying is that you were the new direction of politics. You had a presidential candidate that inspired people. On the back of that, you went to your constituents, and on the strength of the fact that they wanted a new Nigeria, and you were that great hope, they gave you the opportunity.
The new Nigeria that you talked about is still obtainable. At least having that new Nigeria being obtainable is better than what we already have now called renewed hope. But as a political party, we are going... The success breeds a lot of people coming into the party. You look at Abia State, so many people are coming into the Labour Party because of the performance of His Excellency Dr. Alex Otti. They are seeing the dynamics change, they are seeing the narratives change, and they're actually seeing physical infrastructure, not just in road infrastructure, in education, in the health sector, you name it. Otti is doing a whole lot to revamp and to change the narrative of Abia State. Now, Peter Obi has also remained dominant in the political space in Nigeria. You can't wish him off. At least going about talking about the economy. Also going about to talk about how we can move our country forward. Again, from consumption to production. Look at the statistics that you just read out now. There is no assessment of the state of the nation that will be adequate when you don't prioritize the feelings of the people. The people are feeling very sad, they're unhappy, they're hungry. Then you look at inflation rate today, over 40% official.
Food inflation.
Huh?
Food inflation.
Yeah. Yes, over 40%. Unemployment, he said, is about 36%, but if you add underemployment, it's over 50%. Insecurity. So a lot of Nigerians are continuously living lives of hopelessness and not enough opportunities, or insufficient opportunities. And the government of today is not doing anything about it. And until we begin to listen to the ideals that Labour Party people ran, then this country, regardless of who, the president is APC today, but the president needs all the help that he can get.
So the point you're making is basically don't do what I do, do what I say. That's basically what you're saying about the Labour Party.
Labour Party, well, no, not exactly.
In other words, because they're not living up to the
We are living up to the image and to the expectations, Charles.
Well, you can't. You can't have been
that
doing
we have a
that
bit
with
of
the chaos in your
that
party.
we have a bit of disagreement with the management of our party. That by itself does not diminish the ideals of Labour Party.
Okay, let me ask
and
you this.
we are working on it and we are solving it.
Let me ask you this. You won your House of Reps seat under the Labour Party. How has the current political crisis in the party affected your ability or capacity to do your work of representing the party and your constituents at the National Assembly? Because I imagine that it must be difficult to find who to go to in the party for direction and guidance and support, given that it's so riven by factionalization and leadership uncertainty.
Again, Charles, there's no factionalization in Labour Party. When you talk about factionalization, there's a distinction between the NLC and the Labour Party. The NLC are critical stakeholders in Labour Party. The NLC is not Labour Party that gave me the platform to run. Now, in terms of Labour Party, whatever that is happening in Labour Party, it by itself also has not diminished our ability, those of us who've been elected in Labour Party, to function in the National Assembly.
Well, I would like to know how it has not, because I mean, I would imagine that as an opponent of the APC, which is the ruling party, and President Tinubu, and in the National Assembly, the fact that your party is having this internal crisis makes you weaker in your opposition at the House of Reps.
We're still 35 in number in the National Assembly by the House of Representatives, 7 in the Senate. Like I said, we have a caucus, a National Assembly caucus. And that National Assembly caucus still, as of today, remains intact, unabated by what is happening in the party. The party is the platform that brought us to National Assembly. The caucus is the platform that gives us our own legislative agenda to work in tandem with the legislative agenda of the National Assembly. And we're, as an opposition, to disagree in the policies and programs of the current administration, where we need to support them, then we set aside partisanship and support for the benefit of the Nigerian people. So, insofar as what is happening in Labour Party, which is just the media, the figmentation of the media, if I might say, with disrespect, without any disrespect to you, that are making it look like Labour Party is in crisis and we're falling apart. There's no difference between us and what is happening in APC. And,
but what I'm saying is that...
But you also know that competing interest in Labour Party.
That's what depresses people. When you say that there is no difference between you and the APC and the PDP...
No, what I'm saying, you're saying
there's no difference in terms of the crisis you're having.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people don't want that. The reason they came to you was that you were going to be different.
No, but Charles, they can't expect that as Labour Party, that we will not have competing issues or competing interests that will bring about discordant positions or views.
Yeah, but what ultimately...
But how we resolve it is what makes us different.
Well, what ultimately this is about the impact of those things on governance. People are saying, if we had given this lot an opportunity to actually run this country...
Well, we would have been better than what we have today.
Well, I don't know about that.
We would have been better than what we have today, Charles. Completely better.
I have to ask you, whether all that depresses and disappoints you, what is going on in the Labour Party. Because it's one thing to put on a brave face and try and be as defensive as possible. But I mean, I know you to be someone who is...
Who speaks it the way it is.
Well, yeah,
but I'm telling you
who is concerned. I'm wondering if, as a result of that, and as a result of the impact that it's clearly having on the party, and on how vocal you are, because I mean, let's face it, we're not hearing that much from you guys at the National Assembly. I mean, whether or not it's making you and possibly other people to consider defecting to another party, or does the fear of losing your seat keep you where you are?
No. Charles, look at this. Labour for life.
Of course you're
I've told you
on
that
television. Of course you're going to wear it doesn't say Labour for life.
I've told you Labour for life. And many of us in the Labour Party are Labour for life. That's why you've never seen any person from the Labour Party caucus in the National Assembly shift ground. We're not shifting. We're going to stay to help to develop policies and programs that would be for the benefit of Nigerians. It's not Labour Party that is in government. It's not Labour Party that owns a weakened economy. It is not Labour Party that owns a weakened unemployment scheme. It's not Labour Party that owns the chronic insecurity in Nigeria. It is not Labour Party that owns the volatility of the exchange rate. It's not Labour Party that, as of today as well, owns the underproduction. Nigeria is a major crude producer, yet we cannot even ramp up our processing rates, let alone even trying to lift our own output in the international market. So the failure of the government is not Labour Party, it is APC's to own. And our job is to continue to point this out to ensure that at least there will be a change in direction from this administration that is not Labour Party. But we in Labour Party are not saying that we are going to be adamant or dogged about being partisan. We intend to give the opportunity to APC, the president, to ensure that things are stabilized in Nigeria for the benefit. Charles, Nigerians go hungry every night. They're barely making the ends meet to provide, sometimes 1 or 2 meals a day. Nigerians are suffering. People who have gone to school don't even have an opportunity for employment. Commodities have gone up. Fuel has gone up. Even egusi soup is affected by the volatility of the dollar.
That sounds like it's your favorite soup.
I love egusi soup.
Because of all the soups, you chose egusi.
I love egusi soup. But now I cannot.
You're starting to make me hungry now.
Yeah, but
let me ask you this. I mean, do you see, you talked about yourself as Labour Party for life. And I hope you're not going to regret that statement later on.
I am Labour for life.
But do you see the Labour Party's presidential candidate, Peter Obi, remaining with the Labour Party and running again on that platform in 2027?
The political dynamics are changing.
I mean, he's clearly not Labour for life.
He's Labour for life. Right now, what we are doing with Labour Party
under the leadership... He wasn't PDP for life.
Well,
he surely isn't.
Thank God it wasn't PDP for life. Thank God it wasn't PDP for life. Because if it was PDP for life, the talent, the experience and the exposure, the awareness that he brought to the Nigerian body politics would not have been there. Now, whatever issues that are going on in Labour Party in terms of consultations, and I know you say, well, he's met with the former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, a few days ago. He's met with critical stakeholders, including His Excellency Sule Lamido. They're all meeting to talk at that level. Doesn't mean that he's abandoning Labour Party.
Right, but let me ask...
You may be asking these people to come to Labour Party
right,
too.
But since you brought that up, what do you think and what can you tell us about all this talk of a new mega merger of opposition parties to take on the APC in 2027? Is that serious and going on? Charles,
like I said to you, there are discussions ongoing. Of course, it's all over in the news that Peter Obi is moving about. It's also in the news that we have a Labour governor, Dr. Alex Otti. When those two meet with the leadership of the party and as well as members of the National Assembly, those elected on the Labour Party, then we will, take a decision that will be appropriate for the party moving forward, whether we stay in Labour Party or whether we're going to admit and merge with another political force.
But discussions are ongoing.
Discussions
with the leadership of other parties.
Yes.
Right. Other
discussions
opposition
are ongoing
parties.
of other opposition parties.
Right.
Want to be able to support Labour Party, or how all of us can play a meaningful role in bringing about the desired change that Nigerians are calling for.
And is there any clarity on who might be the presidential candidate in those circumstances?
I think it's too early in the discussions to talk about that. We should be able to bring all options on the table.
Right. Because the reason I say that is that the voice of the grapevine seems to suggest that there are a number of holdouts. That, for example, the NNPP presidential candidate,
I don't think he said he's holding out. I think the
NNPP is not keen to consider anything unless he's the one who is in pole position.
No, that's not the information I have. The information I have is that he's been engaged in the discussions, and that he also has explicitly said that he wants to be given a bit of room to have stakeholders engagement in NNPP. But it would be nice if there's going to be a coming together of political parties, that Labour Party is at the center of it, PDP and NNPP.
Yeah, but you're not going to inspire
minded.
confidence if you're having the crisis you're having.
There's no crisis. I keep telling you, Charles, there's no crisis in Labour Party. But if we had a crisis in the Labour Party, it would not give Peter Obi the confidence to be going about to talk to all these critical stakeholders. He would not give my governor the confidence to continue to do what he's doing.
But Peter Obi is what brought attention to the Labour Party. Nobody really...
I agree with you.
Nobody was even looking at the Labour Party. It wasn't considered a major party until Peter Obi came and brought the enormous support of the Nigerian people with him, and that transformed the Labour Party. And we then started to see the cracks within the Labour Party and its incapacity to cope. It's a bit like someone who suddenly becomes famous overnight, and they can't cope with the fame. And that's what seems to be happening with the Labour Party.
Charles, again, let me also explicitly say it. There is no discontent in the Labour Party. We've had our leadership challenges through a convention, and that convention has thrown up a new leadership in Julius Abure, endorsed by the INEC. So we now have to build this house. Yeah, bearing in mind that maybe the ways that they governed previously, the management of the party, would not be the same as of today, because the party now has diverse interests that weren't there before, who are now here before. After all, Labour Party, in the last 8 years, didn't have a governor. But today they have an existing governor. So there must be an accommodation of the governor's interest. There must also be an accommodation of Mr. Peter Obi's interest and those of us in the National Assembly and elsewhere.
Isn't it, let's talk about that potential mega merger. I mean, isn't it going to be just the same political bedfellows, but in a different bed?
No, the ideology is going to be different. The ideology is going to be different. If we merge, and that's a big if we merge, Labour is bringing their own ideals to the table. PDP is bringing their own. NNPP, if they come around, is bringing, and every other political party otherwise minded. Then we will have a constitution. We will have
an amalgamation.
A manifesto that says this is what we believe in.
Right.
I would like now to see a party that comes that says that we are saddened that Nigerians go hungry every single night, that Nigerians are unable to provide food for themselves. That we are saddened by the chronic insecurity in Nigeria. How are we going to reduce the unemployment rate? Now, as of today, it takes about 98 kobo of every naira that we generate as income to pay down our debts, despite the removal of subsidy.
Right.
So if we come together and say to the Nigerian people, whether we come together, but that is the position of the Labour Party.
Right.
Peter Obi, I believe, will still instill confidence in people even to vote for him solo.
Right. Well, you've been quite emphatic in trying to get us to believe that the Labour Party has some form of ideology, or if not an ideology, some form of philosophy. But let me ask you this. When you joined the Labour Party, were you attracted to the philosophy of the party, or was it Peter Obi that attracted you? I mean, did you even understand the inner difficulty that the party was facing, which were patched up in order to support a possible Peter Obi victory?
No, Peter Obi, there's no gainsaying. There was the Labour Party, as at the time we joined Labour Party, by itself could not even produce a councillor. It was Peter Obi, Alex Otti, and many others who joined Labour Party that changed the narrative of Labour Party.
But what I'm saying is that
gave us an ideology.
Did you join?
That was why I joined.
Right.
Because I believed in those ideologies.
Yeah, but you keep talking about the Labour Party.
No, Labour Party then, but I'm talking about Labour Party
today.
Right,
so it's undergone a transformation.
It's undergone a transformation that I believe in the next election cycle will be by itself more formidable than any other political party.
And you don't believe...
But if we join other political parties, we can now come together.
You don't believe it's a cosmetic transformation?
No, it's not cosmetic.
Because, I mean, that's why we're seeing it, falling apart at the seams. But let me ask you this. The point has been made that mega parties or new parties, or for that matter, the Labour Party, no matter how ideologically sound, are not the answer, that the solution is root and branch reform of the Electoral Commission, INEC. Because it doesn't matter how good and moral and ideological the new political party is or the existing parties are, if the capture of INEC continues to prevail, then there'll never be free and fair elections in Nigeria, and good leaders will always be denied the opportunity to lead. Do you agree with that assessment?
I agree with that, and I'm glad that you raised that up. A few of us...
I mean, you're in the National Assembly,
yes,
that's where you can start the reform process.
Yeah, a few of us in the National Assembly, most especially in the House of Representatives, have over some time now been looking at reform of the Electoral Act, and also to bring some parts of the Electoral Act to be in conformity with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. There are a lot of people who are every day waking up, going to work in INEC and believe in doing the right things. But there are also a lot of people who wake up, go to work in INEC, both at the state, local levels, and the national levels. They are attracted to various forms of inducement that compromises their positions, that compromises INEC from doing the right thing. Now, we are reviewing the Electoral Act with a view to amend certain sections of the Electoral Act that will instill confidence in INEC conducting elections, and also not just INEC conducting elections, the court system is also part of that electioneering process. How do we create a transparent system that all Nigerians will be happy, regardless of a political persuasion, that Nigeria can conduct? I think I heard the other day the president talked about the electoral system as well. So everybody's now talking about it. Now, we are looking at ways that in the Electoral Act, one, to deal with the qualification issue, to ensure that that qualification issue is a pre-election matter, no longer both pre-election and post-election matter. We're also looking at possibility of amending the Act to ensure that when we say electronic transmission, it means electronic transmission. It doesn't mean manual transmission. As we have now, INEC has the latitude to be able to say, well, we want to do manual and electronic. Now it's going to be explicit. So there's no in between.
And all this will be done before 2027?
Before 2027.
Right.
And also the possibility now of saying INEC immediately you conduct an election. Within 10 to 15 days or 14 days, 14 working days after you've conducted the election, that you must transmit certified true copies of that election to the court, because courts are now involved. So that anybody who now needs documentation will now go to the court, no longer INEC.
That's a good point.
So we're looking at all these ways to be able to ensure these systemic changes. Yes, there are going to be some Nigerian factors in it as well, but we need to clean up the system. And that's why I'm happy that you raised this issue, because a whole lot of us are having sleepless nights in ensuring that we'll clean up the system, make the system more transparent and more efficient.
And are those people in the minority or the majority in the National Assembly?
One good thing about the National Assembly, let me say from the House of Representatives, under the leadership of Tajuddin Abbas, he's not here. Or Benjamin Kalu, he's not here. But one thing that I like about their leadership is the camaraderie that they have brought forth to members to say, yeah, we may be APC, we may be Labour, we may be PDP or any other political party otherwise minded, but on critical national issues, there's no party. So we have all legislators of different persuasions and perspectives that are coming together to ensure that we'll bring about sanity in the electoral process and to make it more transparent than what it has always been.
Well, on that rather hopeful note, I think it's a good place to end this conversation.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank you very much
Thank you.
for bringing that little nugget of inspiration.
Thank you.
And let's hope that you see it through, because
that's the way Labour people think.
Nigerians are counting on you.
That's the way we think.
That's the way you.
And no crisis.
That's the way
Party.
you think. Look, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Obi Aguocha is a member of the House of Representatives for the Federal Constituency of Ikwuano-Umuahia under the Labour Party.
Thank you
Good
very
to see
much,
you
yes.
again.
Thank you, sir.
you.